This edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of world-class software like PDF Pen for Mac, PDF Pen Pro for Mac, PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander for Mac, and Text Expander for iPhone and iPad. Learn more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Welcome back to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, I'm happy to tell you that we have another field guide from Mr. David Sparks. This time it addresses shortcuts. And David is back to tell us all about what it offers and how he's going to teach you shortcuts in a weekend, David. Is that a fair amount of time, you think?
I think a weekend works. I mean, it's over 6 hours of video. So you can do it in a weekend, though.
I could do it, tomorrow morning if I just dedicate the time. So yeah. Okay, well that even sounds a little less intimidating. I mean, a whole weekend, but 6 hours doesn't sound quite as bad. And inevitably, you're going to want to, as you go through this, you're going to want to play with it a little bit.
Exactly. I'm hearing from a lot of listeners that they are customers that once they get it, they'll watch a video, then they'll take the time to build some of their own shortcuts and then move on to the next one. But this is kind of like I made the Siri shortcuts field guide last year, and my intention for this year was just to do a free update. And I'm sure I thought they were going to add a few actions, maybe add a few apps, and Apple did the unexpected. They rebuilt shortcuts basically from the ground up. They made it even more integrated into the system. They added a whole bunch of new triggers, and they changed the programming paradigm. They literally kind of just changed everything about it. And I had to go through the phases of denial, thinking, oh, I can do this. I could spend 2 or 3 days and make an update for my customers. But then I realized, oh no, this is going to be like a 3-month project, and I have to rebuild the whole thing from scratch. And so I sit from June until about 2 weeks ago, I was going for the shortcuts field guide, and I'm really happy with the way it came out.
Okay, so given that you did the course before, should people, let me try that again. Are you teaching them from the ground up? I mean, if I start with this course with no experience with shortcuts, am I going to be okay?
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. It starts from the basics. In fact, I learned a bunch from the last one. And if you bought the last one, I sent an email out to people who bought the last one. They got a special discount code because I felt bad, because it was a year asking for money again. But I just had to because I had to redo the whole thing. But it's not intended to be a sequel. If you know what I mean, you don't need to read the first book or watch the first movie to watch the second one. It's from ground up shortcuts, and 2 of the feedbacks I got on the original one was some people saying, "Look, I don't know anything about programming. Can you go a little slower?" And then the other feedback I got was, "Man, I make apps for a living. I need you to go deeper for me." So I actually added both of those. In the new one, there is a section called Key Concepts, which really goes through real basic stuff about programming and how it works with shortcuts. And then there's another one called Advanced Concepts, where we get into regular expressions and URL callbacks and all the nerdy stuff that people like. So I'm just really happy with the way it came out. Whenever I make these, I don't have a specific goal in mind. I just have a list of things I want to cover. And this one ended up 6 hours. I added 7 more videos last week because since iOS 13 released, they have a lot of third-party app developers have donated some great shortcuts. I wanted to include them, so I added 7 more. So now it's a total of 114 videos in 6 hours and 45 minutes. You don't have to watch it in order. You don't even have to watch it all. I mean, you watch the parts that help you with the automation you want to do. But I'm just, I feel like it came out really great.
So 114 videos, 6 hours. What is an average video length? In other words, how much time do I need to, if I can't do a full 6 hour run or even 2-3 hour runs?
A lot of them, usually, I think the average is around 3 minutes, and some of them are 10 and some of them are 1. But I don't think there's anything much longer than 10 minutes. And it's very structured. The course is like it starts with 6 and works its way to the advanced. And then at the end, there's like 30 videos that are just shortcuts that I've made that I use to get through my day. And then I walk through how to build it and explain it. And there's downloadable shortcuts for all of them. There's a link in each video, so you can download the shortcut and kind of play along or customize it to make it work for you. So it's meant to, instruct you in the first half and then just explore in the second half. Came out great. I made the transition to video 2 or 3 years ago, but I feel like now I'm really kind of like clicking. I'm kind of getting the way to make it work the best. Like now I've got all the closed captioning is built in, and there's transcripts for each one, so you can read it if I'm really happy with the way it came out.
Well, and you do something, the first time it's always a little rough. The second time is better. By the time you hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you've got your workflow. You've got your workflow. David, you said something there earlier in one of the earlier comments. Is shortcuts programming? Because that can scare some people away.
But you know what, it kind of is. But it's programming for normal people. You can make your own apps with shortcuts. I mean, I got an email from a listener who his grandmother has an iPhone, and she loves to look at a shared photo album. And he, using the field guide, he made a shortcut that basically she taps her phone on an NFC sticker, and it opens up to photos so she can see the stuff he's doing of the grandkids. And like, he made a program. I mean, it's the world's most simple program, but the grandma thinks he's a genius. And best of all, she can get to her photos when she wants to. So you can make very basic or even kind of complex programs with shortcuts. And there is no coding involved, but it is programming. I mean, you have to think about it logically, how you put it together. And the more advanced ones, like I've got shortcuts in this field guide that some of them are just like 1 or 2 actions strung together. I've got another one that I think is over 100 actions. So it just depends on, what you're making. But it started basic, and honestly, anybody can do this stuff. I think there's a reason why I want people to make their iPhones work for them.
I really like the grandmother story, simply because I feel like that's something that we all need to maybe pay attention to. Some of the senior folks in our life, the tech doesn't come easy to. And if you could create a shortcut that does something that they really want to do with their device, but maybe it just is too many steps, or they just throw up their hands in frustration, that would be an amazing gift to give them.
Well, I mean, the triggers they added is NFC stickers, so you can buy them on Amazon. I think I've probably got 100 here in a drawer now, but for like $10 or $20, you get a pile of the things. And if you've got an iPhone XS or greater, it only started with the last year's iPhone, but you literally just tap the phone against the sticker, and it's a trigger for a shortcut. So launching apps, conducting actions, anything that you can do with a shortcut, which the list is quite long, can be kicked off by just physically taking your phone and pushing it against a sticker. So you take it to someone like grandma who isn't good at, running apps and even pressing the button. I mean, the most basic steps are difficult for her. And you put a collection of stickers. The other one he did with her was he put a sticker on her refrigerator that opens up a grocery list app. Every time she goes to the refrigerator, she sticks her phone on the sticker. And then I actually recommend, that was one I suggested in the course, but he made it for her. And so now she thinks she loves it, because she just sticks her phone, it opens up the reminder list, she types in carrots, and then when she goes to the grocery store, she's got her list. And this isn't just for grandma, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Apple empowered us with that I never dreamed we would have had this early in the game.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You also said that you have about 30 shortcuts that get you through your day. Yeah. Without revealing anything proprietary, can you give me an idea of what kind of things you do with shortcuts?
Proprietary. I've shared a bunch of them already. But like, for instance, I'm a big block scheduler. And so I like to set blocks of time. Like the way I get the field guides done is I put 3-hour blocks in my schedule many days to sit and work on the field guide. If I didn't put that block in, it wouldn't get done, because your life gets, and you always find things to fill your time. So I use block scheduling to literally carve out time to do stuff that's important to me. But occasionally things get weird because I'm also a business lawyer, and like I'll get a call from a client in the morning and everything gets upset. Well, on my phone, moving calendar events, and let's say I've got 10 in the day because I've done all these block schedules, moving 10 items on my calendar is madness. And it's really not that easy on the phone, right? I mean, there's not like on the Mac, you can move calendar events much easier than you can on the phone. So I made shortcuts that just gives me a list of all of my events. I can check off this. I call it move blocks is the name of the shortcut. And this is one of the ones I share in the course. But it gives you a list of all your events. You just check the ones that you want to move because some of them are hard events, like recording with Chuck. I can't move that. That is a time that we've set to do this recording. So I'll check them all, but the one for this recording, and then say how many minutes, and I'll type 60. And then it takes each calendar event and it moves it 60 minutes down the calendar, opening up that extra time to deal with the client emergency. It takes all of about 2 seconds to run it, and it makes my calendar fit the actual day. The interesting thing is Shortcuts doesn't have a action to move a calendar event, that for whatever reason, that just hasn't made it in yet. But they do have a calendar action to create a calendar event and to delete one. So the way the shortcut actually works is it takes each calendar event, it adds 60 minutes to it and creates a new one with that new start time, and then it deletes the source one. So it goes through and creates events, and you don't see it happening because it's a computer program and it happens so fast. But they took a little, clever trickery on my behalf to figure it out. But once I got it, now whenever I have a problem with my block schedule, I run the move blocks, and then everything gets taken care of. That's an example of one.
Well, that's a pretty good one, and that is also an example of programming.
Yeah. And it's not that hard because, and like for instance, that one I get to use the repeat item function in Shortcuts, which is once you get a list of items, you just say repeat that for everything that you found, And in this case, if I find 4 events, it'll do it 4 times. If I find 6 events, it'll do it 6 times. And it's a basic, and I walked you through it so you can understand. In fact, there's a whole video on repeat items which you can watch so you can learn that really thoroughly. But once you get it, then you start encountering little problems in your life, and you're like going, you know what, I could probably fix that with a shortcut, And that's the beauty of shortcuts is people that get the basics down, then they find their own reasons to use it and they make their own shortcuts. And it's really quite wonderful when it works.
When it works, David, that didn't sound real promising.
No, well, you know what I mean? You got to spend the time to figure it out first, but it's fun. If you're a geek, you can really go down the rabbit hole. It's fun.
How do you think Shortcuts compares to something like Automator? Because that AppleScript is AppleScript, and we're going to stay away from that because Automator is, at least in theory, a whole lot more approachable. Is Shortcuts the Automator for the iPhone, or do you think it's easier?
I feel like Shortcuts is Automator should have become. I feel like Automator, Shortcuts is more powerful. Because like with Automator, just as an example, there's an Automator action to create an email. You can address the email in Automator. Say I want the email to go to Chuck Joyner at chuckjoyner.com, whatever. I don't remember your email address, but and it'll send it. But with Shortcuts, you can say, I want the email to go to the email that I'm passing to you from another step in the shortcut. Like one of the shortcuts one of the more advanced ones I do is I do a regular expressions video in this course where it looks at meeting minutes. And if it finds the word distribution, it sends an email to everybody that's listed under the distribution. So it can actually grab the email for that person, insert your mail, and send it. You can't do that with Automator. It just, that's not, Automator didn't get the love. It started but Apple just didn't put enough wood behind the arrow on Automator to get it to that point. So I'd say it's more powerful than Automator. It's probably not as powerful as AppleScript, because AppleScript has Apple events. It's more kind of foundational level stuff, but AppleScript is a lot harder too.
Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software. The hits just keep on coming from Smile. This time, we should talk about the latest features added to PDF Pen. Now, PDF Pen has improved the ability to select and copy columns and table data. And that's really important, since so much information resides in that type of formatting. And the ability to copy and paste it where you want it makes that data all the more useful. PDF Pen also adds automatic page rotation options for scans, which is no small thing if your document contains lots of pages with different rotations. Having those fixed for you automatically is a real time saver. And those are just the latest improvements to an already super powerful PDF utility that includes secure redacting, optical character recognition, the ability to export to Word and Excel, and much more. Visit smilesoftware.com/podcasts to get more information on PDF Pen and the even more powerful PDF Pen Pro. Download a demo version and get a taste of what PDF Pen can do for you. That's PDF Pen at smilesoftware.com/podcasts. And while you're there, let them know you appreciate their support of the show. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing sponsorship of Mac Voices. How about some of the new triggers in iOS 13? You said that that's one of the things that precipitated the new version of this.
Yeah, last time I was here, I was talking about the Keyboard Maestro field guide, and the Keyboard Maestro did an amazing job of putting this on your Mac, like when you connect to a Wi-Fi, then do something. And I remember at the time that I made that course, I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be great if we had those triggers on shortcuts? And then my brain immediately said, oh, that's never going to happen. I was thinking, because, Apple doesn't really open up the way that, somebody like the keyboard guys do. And so I'm thinking there's no way they'll ever allow that. I was thinking the best that we would get, because one thing that we definitely needed from the prior version of shortcuts was time-based triggers, because every trigger in the iOS 12 version required you to literally push a button on your phone or to say something to Siri, and everything, human interaction basically. And why can't we have one that just goes off at 4 p.m. every day? Maybe that's something somebody wants for a reason. So in the back of my head going to WWDC this year, I said, hopefully this is the year we get time-based triggers in shortcuts. Well, shortcuts didn't make it in the keynote, so I was thinking, oh boy, we probably didn't get our time-based triggers, And then when I started looking into it, no, we've got this abundance of riches. Not only did we get time-based triggers, we also got triggers based on NFC stickers, like I just mentioned. We got stickers based on connecting to Wi-Fi. There's stickers when you connect your phone to your CarPlay. So, if you connect your phone to your CarPlay, you can send a text message to your significant other saying, I'm leaving. There's when you arrive at a location, before you go to a meeting, it can give you a notification. When you leave a location, it can give you a shortcut. So we've got this amazing list of triggers now that we can use to kick off shortcuts, and way more than I ever thought we would get this soon, if ever. And now it's all there, so it's pretty great.
For those who haven't played with this, can Siri trigger shortcuts?
Yeah.
So I can create a trigger that says, I'm home, a command for Siri that basically says I'm home, and have it do all my smart home things and maybe start dinner for me.
Yeah, like you could have a shortcut, like if you've got the Apple HomeKit stuff, you could have a shortcut that turns on your lights, starts playing Star Wars through your HomePod, and because Star Wars, I don't know, whatever else you want to do, and you just get home and you say, I'm home. Or you could set it up as a location trigger. So when you get home and it sees that you're home, it turns on. Or you could do that based on a Wi-Fi. When you connect to your home Wi-Fi, it could do that. Or you could do it by putting a sticker next to your front door and snapping your phone to the sticker as you walk in the door. So there's a lot of ways you could do that. But and that, I guess that's the goal, is they want to give everybody as many options as they want. But then now that it connects so well with HomeKit and you can pick which HomePod it goes to, so if you have multiple HomePods, it's really quite powerful with the kind of stuff you can do. And this, when I say it's programming, it's not where you're writing code. Everybody understand, hello world kind of programming code. It's just stacking blocks. It's like pick HomePod as, like the Star Wars one would be choose audio destination. So that's where you pull that over and say, go to my HomePod, and then say play Star Wars or play Star Wars playlist. And that's it. The two steps you need for that part of it. For the lights, it literally just goes, you pull the HomeKit action and say, I want to turn on my study lights, and it'll turn them on. So it's not super complicated, but you do have to think it through enough to know what you want to have happen.
I'm glad you said that, because that alleviates, I think, some of the concern over programming. That okay, if I get the semicolon in the wrong place, my house could burn down.
Have any of that.
And you don't have that. It's just like you say, it's stacking blocks.
And the programming model, I said earlier, they changed the programming model. They really, one of the huge problems I felt like with the last one was it put, let's say if programming is constructing a sentence, using it in a grammar terms, there's a noun and there's a verb. And the noun is usually the variable, it's the thing. And then the verb is the action you're going to do to the thing. Well, in prior versions, you would have the variable declared somewhere in the shortcut, and then later you would act on it. But it never put those two things in the same sentence. So sometimes the shortcut would act on, you think you were turning on the kitchen lights and turn on the bedroom lights, for instance. Well, now it's all combined. The programming model now, in the action, it says, turn the bedroom lights on. I mean, it's literal. And you just tap the button and you can change it to the kitchen if you want. But it's very deliberate now. I mean, now that I see it, it's obvious to me this is the way it should have always been, but it never really occurred to me. You know how it is. Once Apple does this, a lot of times they'll solve a problem and you're like, oh, of course, that's the way you do it. But it took a long time to get there. But the new programming model is much more friendlier to people who are not programmers, because it puts the nouns and the verbs together, and then it makes it really easy for you to construct things.
This doesn't pertain exactly to the course, but is there anything you would like to see in the next version of Shortcuts? Because there'll be a next version.
Oh yeah, I mean, the problem with me is the more you give me, the more I want. Some of the new triggers require, if they've got a human, if it would normally require a human interaction, some of the triggers require a confirmation button. Some do, some don't. I don't want that anymore. I want everything to just happen. I want even more integration with third-party applications. I want, Chuck, there's so much I want. but the nice thing is they've built a structure here that I don't think I'm going to be here next year talking about the whole brand new Shortcuts course. Next year I'll be able to hopefully just do an update, because I think that they've built the foundation now. Now it's just adding on to it. Like the other thing they did that's really great is they gave developers a way to create shortcuts actions. Before, when you had Siri shortcuts in iOS 12, like there was an action to create an OmniFocus task. Well, that wasn't created by the Omni group. That was created by the shortcuts team. Now developers can make their own actions and donate them. And so you can run mini programs inside that are created by developers that Apple never did. So that means we're going to have this explosion of new actions from developers that are woke on this stuff. And it's going to give us a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I had to add 7 videos to the course after I released it, because pCalc, for instance, came out, and I think they have like 15 different calculation actions that you can do with numbers and conversions. And those are now available actions in shortcuts. It doesn't mean you have to run pCalc, but if you're making a shortcut that involves paying your friend in a different country, Peacock made a currency converter that you can just drag in, and it's created for you. You don't have to program a currency converter. It's one step. You take it from the Peacock, you drag it in, it says currency converter. Start with US dollars, end up with euros, and then that's it. You've made a currency converter. So, and that's just the beginning. I mean, a bunch of different applications are doing it. Now there's applications and betas now they're not even really applications for your phone. They're just applications that have a whole bunch of shortcuts, actions that weren't otherwise available. Like I think there's one now with facial recognition, where if you want to use the facial confirmation from your phone, they're going to plug that into shortcuts with this app. I mean, it's not out yet. I don't want to say a whole lot because who knows, but I mean, all of these options are opening up. It's a whole world to people that want to go down this rabbit hole.
Hmm. So I want to be sure we understand that. Shortcuts out of the box, no outside interference, does not or does integrate with some third party or a lot of third party apps.
It does. I mean, they have the stuff that they built already, but as you install third party apps that embrace shortcuts, it's adding a whole bunch more. It's like you just get more tools. And when you open shortcuts, there's a button now that says apps. You just tap that button, and it gives you a list of all your installed apps that have shortcuts that you can use with it. Most of them are Apple apps like Contacts and Calendar and, Safari. But then you're going to see things like pCalc showing up in there. And if you tap on that, you'll see all the available actions you can get out of pCalc. So that list is only going to get longer with time. I mean, I've heard from so many app developers that are in the process of putting together their own custom actions. So I think the future is sunny. If you want to try and start automating your iPad and your iPhone, you're going to have some great stuff. I wish we had it on the Mac now. I mean, to get back to your question earlier about Automator never got there. I wish we had those tools available on the Mac.
Well, maybe in the next version of the OS.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we kind of do. I mean, you can do it with Keyboard Maestro and you can do it with AppleScript, but the simplicity of shortcuts, nothing is as easy to use as shortcuts is.
Yeah. David, every time we talk about any of the courses that you've done, I get excited. I want to go and play with them. I want to go and learn and do this stuff. So, I will. Don't you worry. Yeah, I've done some shortcuts, but I obviously have not done them to the extent that you have. And it reminds me that I should. I definitely want to.
Well, like you could put one, I'm just sitting here thinking, you could put a sticker on your desk. I keep talking about these stickers because I think it's just so fascinating that you just literally put your phone in near something and automation happens. But you could put one like when you record podcasts that could put your phone on do not disturb mode and turn down the lights and, disable. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Just for the purpose of podcasting. I mean, it's really great what Apple's done.
Okay, so how do we get the course? What is it going to cost us, and where do we go?
Sure, it's learn.macsparky.com. And you go there, and it's the first one. It's the Shortcuts Field Guide. So it's the number one on the list right now because it's the latest. It's the iOS 13 edition. If you bought the iOS 12 edition, I sent an email out. A couple people that it fell into spam or whatever, they didn't get it. Send me an email if you bought the prior version, you didn't get the discount code. The introductory pricing has ended, but I'm going to make for a new one just for this course. Just as always, Chuck, for your listeners and viewers, it'll last till the end of October. It'll be Chuck Loves Shortcuts, and you'll get $5 off.
Great, thank you.
It's $29 usually, but you get $5 off. Because Chuck loves shortcuts.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I like it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man. So I'm not even going to try to do the math, but 6 hours of training for that kind of pricing is just. I mean, where else are you going to go and get something like that?
I don't know. Every time I release a course, several people write me and say I'm not charging enough, and a few people write me and say I'm charging too much. I don't know, but I just felt like that's about right, and hopefully you get something out of it. this stuff can be a little hard to understand, and having someone to kind of walk you through it can really make a difference. And that's my goal with all the field guides. I mean, I really feel strongly with the stuff I do at Mac Sparky, and the field guides in particular, is the mission statement, if you want to say it, is I want to take normal people and make their lives easier with technology. And Apple's given us the tools, but sometimes you need a little driving lesson before you jump in and start, cruising down the road. So that's my goal with the course. And I want everybody to get it and try it and learn it and make awesome shortcuts. I love nothing better than hearing from people who get these courses who've never made a shortcut before. And then they send me these shortcuts that have ideas I never thought of. It's just amazing once you give this tool set to people. I mean, you don't have to be a programmer. Once you understand the basic concepts, then you bring your own creativity to bear. And it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and you like you said, you solve their problems. They have a need that you don't, or you never even thought about. Yeah. And I mean, just like the grandmother story again, I love that. Just for so many reasons, but not the least of which it solves somebody's problems. Definitely made grandma's life a lot richer with just a little bit of work. So
yeah,
very nice.
I bet she gets a kick out of it. I mean, that delights me too.
Yeah, exactly. So I gather there are more field guides in the works.
Yeah, I've already let the cat out of the bag. I'm doing the next one is going to be on photos, and I'm hard at work on that now. I did one on photos many years ago, and it's changed so much that I'm starting from scratch with photos and having a great time. Apple's done a good job with photos, and it's really something else. And with the new phone and the cameras, I'm going deeper with this one. I'm going to be talking about how to take better pictures, and I'm going to have not even just Apple's third-party apps. So I'm still getting my head around it, and I haven't started recording yet, but I've got a lot of work in it so far. And I don't know when that one will be out. I'm not even going to promise that one comes out this year, because there's, I may not make that, but it's, they're done when they're done. And I'm working on another one, and I've got my block schedule. So I'm putting 3-hour blocks into it pretty regularly now. So hopefully I'll be seeing you again.
Well, you're always welcome. We appreciate what you do, and you do it so well. So thank you from all of us who learn because of what you do.
Well, thanks, Chuck. I love doing it, and thanks for helping me get the word out.
My pleasure. On social media, where are the best places to contact you at the moment?
Yeah, the easiest way to find me is at macsparky.com. The courses are all at learn.macsparky.com. On social media, I'm on Twitter as MacSparky. You can find me there every day. So I'm not super active, but I am active, and I do read everything. And you can contact me through the website if you need anything in particular.
Great. David, it's always a pleasure. Thanks you so much for the time, and thanks for everything you do.
My pleasure, Chuck. Great seeing you again.
Good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. If you've been waiting to learn shortcuts, if you've been intimidated by the idea of shortcuts, David will get you over those. So by all means, learn.macsparky.com and use the coupon code Chuck Loves Shortcuts and get $5 off. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.